Okay, guys, welcome for another topic, emergency response. And as usual, first of all, no harm to prepare list of emergencies. What do you think? What kind of emergencies can be there? Then we will discuss how to respond against each emergency.
Emergency, fire, medical emergency, any vehicle
Okay,
accident,
like fire, medical.
medical
Okay,
emergency, vehicle accident, explosion,
okay, release of toxic gases.
any
Okay, earthquake, God forbid, heavy rains or flooding. Okay, excavation collapse.
Could be any sort of
Collapse or cave in. What other emergencies could be there? Because this list is very much important to prepare first of all, and then we can understand how we have to respond.
any fatality,
Yeah, sudden accident or any fatality, yes. We can also take oil spillage or any chemical spillage, any sort of fatalities. And I need your opinion. Do you think this employee strike could also be one of the emergency? Like if you are not fulfilling their, not paying their salaries on time, or if they're not happy.
Actually, if they are
as a-
out of control, then it could be a sort of emergency. If they become aggressive or
Okay,
they
so
get hyper.
employees, uncontrolled employee strike. Okay, good word. Uncontrolled strike of employees. What about civil disobedience? Might be these are some new words. Mostly we don't face actually, especially in Saudi Arabia at our project site. But still, nowadays, because of this 2030 vision, new drastic changes are coming. The whole system is being changed. So this civil disobedience would be another threat in case of emergency. Like Now, sudden release of H2S. Let's take an example of H2S. The question is how you would tackle this emergency. What steps you have guided your employees in? Like sudden release is there of H2S from any confined space. So what steps you have guided to your employees, how they have to respond against this emergency? What is the role of firefighters, the first aiders, the emergency response team members, and even the common employees, you know?
Actually, there's a emergency task force, but first of all, the workers there, they are guided what they have to do. For example, they have to go up wind direction, and if there are, you know, in the sites there are two different warning signs. Like if the concentration is 10 ppm, it could be only the visible lights alarm. And if there is also audible alarm, it means the concentration is high, maybe 20 ppm. So then they have to leave the work area and they have to go to the safe briefing area in the upwind direction against the wind.
Absolutely.
And if any breathing air devices like SCBA SABA is available, they have to don it and move to the safe briefing area.
Excellent, Marshall. And you know, these are invisible enemies like coronavirus here. And with the coronavirus actually, because suddenly it became a fatal emergency and in shape of pandemic even. And the reason, no, most of the companies, even I would say 98% companies, they were not ready. And there wasn't any crisis management plan or emergency response plan against such kind of emergencies. And what happened? A lot of wrong decisions, you know. And mostly
Yes.
countries, some are taking some actions, the others are confused. WHO is confused at some level. A lot of countries are taking their own a series of actions, you know. So that means in case of emergency, if communication is not effective or the steps what should be followed are not followed, means this emergency could be catastrophic. Because in case of emergency, of course, there is a probability of fatalities and, you know, some major injuries as well, but it should be limited. It's not like unlimited, like because of this coronavirus, just get the figure how many people are died, you know, globally. That is why it's became important proactively. There must be a response plan implementable, I would say, because through some drill, through some evacuation drills, even, you know, this because of this COVID, I noted one of the company, they added new drill, how to respond if someone affected with coronavirus, how to respond this emergency, what steps they have to follow. So if that plan is there, but practice is not there, the drills are not done, people are not aware. Like, let's take an example of Saudi Aramco. Even they evaluated after having 82 years experience in oil and gas industry, still they have some data that people, they don't know what is an emergency, or they have no idea how to call 911. What to say while you are calling 911. And even they evaluated employees don't get a proper induction or orientation how to respond to different emergencies. Even they further evaluated that a lot of trainings are done, through third-party training institutes, but the moment there is an emergency, nobody knows what to do. Some are got confused, some are, let me give you an example. In one of the incident in Hubei, suddenly, there was a fire broke out in a house, and the authorities came, civil defense and all, and I just not only I was little away from the line of fire, but I noted the confused firefighters, who were unable to wear even scuba in this case of emergency, because the practice was not there. If you want to do something better, practice it again and again and let your confidence to be boosted. Even though overconfidence is another killing point, but at least you must be confidently capable how to respond, especially in panic situations where you are not going to be panicked. You must have control on your nerves. This is practical example I'm sharing what I saw in front of my eyes here. While what I believe at a countrywide people working with civil defense, they must be highly competent and confident. And within 30 seconds, they must be capable to wear scuba, instead of, because every second is critical. The people are dying inside the house or the properties are being damaged. So to reduce this loss, of course, your response time must be faster than even ever you think about. But yes, you must never ever compromise your safety. Your safety must be your top priority. It's not like if you don't know how to wear scuba and still you wore it wrongly and you're moving to save the life, that's not a good strategy. Even though they managed this drastic issue quite easily, one of the experienced guy came and he guided them immediately. He supported them how to wear it, and then they moved on. So, even Saudi Aramco evaluated at some level, I would say, as per their theories, people don't want to report, some kind of emergency situations. They hide from Aramco. That's also they evaluated that, especially the contractors, they don't want to tell them any kind of abnormal situations. Even they hide certain injuries or kind of incidents even. There are a lot of unreported incidents also. That means convincing people how to report an emergency is another phenomenon we have to consider seriously. And most importantly, one of the point, if I remember exactly, even Saudi Aramco mentioned, people are not aware about even the muster points. Like at one side, how many muster points are there and how they have to be reached there, and what is the role of wind direction. Because might be you got new employees and without induction, you believe you don't have time and you need these people urgently at the project site. No time for the induction, but they signed attendance sheet, everything is done. You took picture even that the induction is done, but in fact, it's not done. The person is suddenly unconscious and nobody knows how to do CPR. Because everywhere, don't expect you will get first aiders, even they are trained, but in case of emergency, if they are not confident or the practice is not done or they are not trained effectively, their response would be horrible. While they were the most important person, especially in case of emergency. If a person is dying, the first few minutes are really critical, so they can save a life, right? If they know technically how to give CPR or how to, what is the life caring strategies or the life support systems he must be following it. So against emergency responses, no doubt we have teams, but how confident they are, how much practice they are doing, that is more important. Because emergency means a sudden abnormal situation. And everybody, mostly it's a human nature, they'll get upset and will be performing silly things. That is why we have separate team of first aiders, separate team of, firefighters, fire wardens, fire watchers, even separate team of emergency responders actually. Because we trust these guys are trained, having third party IDs and certificates. But imagine if they don't respond accurately or they don't respond and they got confused in case of emergency. Even our name as a training center would also be in trouble, right? How they have guided these guys, while on the other side might be they are not intentional. They thought it's just a formality. We want to show to Saudi Aramco, look, our employees are trained, certified. Look, these are the evidences. But in case of emergency, they have no idea what to do. That is why practical trainings, especially, especially for emergency response teams, first aiders, firefighters, practical drills are very much important. And emergency response in confined spaces is more critical. Like rescuing a person, especially from a confined space, is not easier. But yes, if you do certain drills or you know how to secure and how to respond a person if a person is unconscious in a confined space, or you have to rescue. If you know the steps and you have done certain drills, then of course you will be confident enough. Or I would suggest at least the emergency response team leader, at least he must be fully trained. And in one of the theories I studied, Saudi Aramco highlighted, even people are not familiar how many exits are there, or the kind of fire exits. And even they don't know that they must not panic and run fast, and they have no idea how to calm themselves in case of emergency and just to go to the safer zone or the muster points. And don't do anything you are not trained for, you are not authorized for. Like if you are not trained as a first aider, don't try to play a role as a first aider. Don't try to give any CPR to anyone, because it will fire back if person is, God forbid, expired. And then of course the interrogation will show the untrained, uncertified person gave CPR. That is the reason the person is no more. I hope you got the point. So you are not going to do anything you are not authorized for, you are not trained for. So as an emergency responder, even after this training, I would recommend there must be some emergency rescue drills or kind of rescue drills, especially in the confined space, not with the human, at least with dummy or some, and use your all equipment, which are already available at site. Then it will give you a better confidence. Yes, in case of emergency, our people can save our employees. So remember, if we fail to prepare, we prepare to fail. So it's all game of preparation. Like we have right set of emergency response tools. We have right set of competent professionals as an emergency responders. We have right set of PPs available. And they are fully knowledgeable. They know every nook and corner of the organization or the site. They know how to lift a person, how to drag a person, how to rescue, different, and how to wear even stuff like the use of PPs. They are fully familiar. Or they know what is the importance of emergency response plan, because in the emergency response plan or procedure, you have mentioned clearly what to do, how to do, when to do, why to do, you know, it's quite clear, especially within the emergency response plan. Now, my question is, do you have emergency response plan of your sites, of every site? Is it a site specific or you have generic one for all the sites?
We have planned for our office. At sites, they have their own emergency
Site
plan.
specific, you mean, is there?
Yeah. For the rigs, they have their own, but we have to follow that. We should
Excellent.
have
And also,
training like H2S awareness,
yeah.
this first
you
aid
know-
firefighting.
Saudi Aramco also mentioned in one of their theories that Saudi Aramco's emergency response plan and contractors' emergency response plan is unable to correlate. Like both have different directions. Aramco plan is going on the right side, contractor's plan is going on the left side. Hard to correlate, not compatible to the site, not site specific. That is also the lacking point they highlighted. And still, one more element, that the same plan is being copy paste, just by considering it's a formality. If you are considering a plan as a formality, then in case of emergency, God forbid, that emergency may become after 5 years or maybe after 10 years, or you will be lucky even forever that there isn't any emergency at all. But remember, we can never be lucky, right? It's an abnormal situation can happen because of maybe weather conditions. It could happen because of any silly mistake of any human brain who is working 43,200 seconds every day for 12 hours at your site. This is important to understand. If we fail to prepare, we prepare to fail. Now, it's a humble request. If you have emergency response team, verify their practical skills. Create a fake emergency and see how they respond to it. Evaluate them personally under your supervision and see either they are fully capable or totally relying on Aramco responders. And for the emergency team, it's very much important to know about the exit routes and how the action plan is working and the fire prevention plans and fire protection as well. Look at some of the pictorial source of emergencies. And in such a situation, the biggest element must be in our mind to save human lives. Actually. That should be our prime objective in case of such emergency. Because the rest of the things can be rebuilt, but human life have no alternative, no substitute. So we have to understand the characteristics of effective emergency escape routes and what are the 5 steps of fire extinguishers, like especially our firefighters or the responders, they must be familiar how to use extinguisher. Even proper maintenance of portable fire extinguishers is also critical. Our emergency responders must be familiar what are the benefits of emergency action plans, like written document that facilitates and organizes employer and employee actions during workplace emergencies. Fewer or less severe injuries can be there, less structural damage, reduced confusion. So more better responsive capabilities you have, less will be the loss. But it's a game of practice, drills. Make sure the plan is not only a plan, it's a directional plan and they know how to follow it. And the purpose must also be clear why we need emergency action plan. Because we need to describe actions to be taken to ensure employee safety during an emergency. Uses floor plans, maps to show emergency escape routes. Tells employees what actions to take. Tells employees what action to take. Like Saudi Aramco also have evaluated one of the important points that the employees, they don't know what to do in case of an emergency. They have no idea. In their theories, they have clearly mentioned, we have evaluated, and this is one of the hazard also, that employees, mostly employees, they're not familiar what to do in case of an emergency. And it should also be covering reasonably expected emergencies, because we know what is Saudi Arabia. It's a sand, it's a desert. We know the sandstorm could create certain emergencies. We know we are playing with nature by drilling oil and gas and having certain refineries or different kind of chemical industries, mining industries, pharmaceutical, a lot of companies, So we know our land, we know what can go wrong or what kind of expected emergencies could be there. So accordingly, our emergency action plan must be ready all the time and must also be updated as per the upcoming situation. And in the emergency action plan, what are the important elements? Make sure how you're gonna report, what is the evacuation procedures, and this evacuation procedure must be practiced, through evacuation drills. So people should also be, like, all employees must be familiar about the escape routes. And yes, procedures for critical operations must also be part of emergency action plan. Accounting of employees as critical and rescue and medical duties. And contact persons, the emergency contact numbers and person, even with their picture and mobile number, no harm to display. Now, few more important elements of emergency action plans are: make sure you have delivered some effective trainings to the employees about this plan. Review plan with each employee, initial development of plan, initial assignment of employee to job, changes to plan or employee action responsibilities, annual retraining with drills to practice evacuation and gathering and assembly area. Annual is minimum requirement, but you can do it quarterly, monthly, even biannual. It's up to you. But the law says minimum once in a year. But as per Saudi Aramco, as per the nature of the project, of course, you can have your own set of schedule for the drills. You need to educate and train the people, like what type of emergencies could be there. The course of actions must be clearly defined in the action plan. Functions and elements of emergency action plan and special hazards are identified. Fire hazard and fire prevention plan must also be part of this emergency action plan. Now, this emergency action plan, there must be some general training where you have to clearly define roles and responsibilities, threats, hazards, and protective actions, notification, warning, communication, locating family members, location, use of emergency equipment. And this emergency action plan must also be prepared for residential compounds of our employees. That means the emergency action plan of the site and even of the site, like the residential compounds, because we have to ensure our employees' safety on the job and off the job. Because mostly are expatriates and they are in your hands 24 hours. So you need to give them a system like, it's not like if you have one employee and he purchases his own car and you will not give him defensive driving training. And I always mention safety is one of the major responsibilities. It's one of the ethical job in the world. It's not like only the money making profit or money making profession. Actually. So yes, we need procedures like emergency response, evacuation and shelter in place, assembly and accounting of employees, emergency shutdown. Especially if it is a refinery plant, emergency shutdown. One of the critical activities. And what are the examples of procedures like methods of reporting an emergency, how you have to report it? There must be a reporting format like emergency description, the people involved, date, time, certain kind of, like what happened exactly, or kind of investigation, interrogation you can mention about. And also instructions for exit must also be part of these procedures and instructions for limited mobility. And according to the emergency action plan, some interlinked plan must also be there like fire prevention plan. Now here a question is coming in my mind. What do you think, what is the difference between firefighting, fire protection and fire prevention? I repeat again, what is the difference between fire prevention, fire protection and firefighting? Or you believe all are similar? Yes, please. The difference between fire prevention, firefighting and fire protection. Or let me make it more easier. What is the difference between firefighters, fire wardens and fire watchers? Or can you claim
Fire
one
prevention.
gentleman that he is the fire warden, he is the firefighter and he is the fire watcher as well? Can one gentleman be 3 in 1 at one project?
Actually, we have to define the roles. It should be according to that.
Exactly.
If we have more people, then we can distribute the work.
Excellent, Marshall.
But if we have limited manpower, then the same guy can do.
Yeah. You know, prevention is better than cure. And it's not like only fire prevention. Even spillage prevention, waste prevention plans. Even housekeeping should also be part of your prevention plan. Because prevention is better than cure. Even emergency emergencies prevention plan. Response plan, of course, is the need of the time, but there must be some kind of systematic approaches that there is very less chances of emergencies because we have emergencies prevention plan in hand. But yes, the moment we call prevention, we talk about design safety. We talk about BOQ, bill of quantity. We talk about housekeeping. We talk about complete set and order of everything. We talk about even fire resistant coatings and paints and certain. I hope you got the point. We will not let anything to come into our place that could ignite or give more fuel to the fire. That is why this fire prevention plan must be in writing, must be kept in workplace, available to employees for review. And remember, employer must inform employees of fire hazards when initially assigned to a job. Review with each employee applicable FPP parts as well. So communication is important with the employee. It also must be included list of all major fire hazards, proper handling and storage of hazardous materials, ignition sources, controls and fire protection equipment, procedures to control flammable combustible materials. So just in line with this one, let me just open another presentation and we can wrap up this training because that would be very helpful, for fire prevention. So let me just open that one. It's a kind of a competition, but I hope you will enjoy it. So basically 3 rounds are there and 15 questions would be there, and I call them, these are 15 practical scenarios. And we just need to find out what is the right answer. Now the question is, look at the picture first. It's a $100 question. The question is, all extinguishers are good for all fires. All extinguishers are good for all fires. True or false?
False.
False. Excellent, Marshall. $200 question is there. Look at the picture first. The question is, fire extinguishers should be serviced at least every 3 years, located as required by local regulations or fire hazard identification, used to hold doors open, or check frequently for good operation by weighing the extinguisher. $200 question is there.
D.
D.
Yeah.
Option D.
Option B.
Option B, located as required by local regulations or fire hazard identification. Correct, Marshall. $300 question is there. Look at the picture first, like fire hoses, fire extinguisher, and look at the needle, must be in the green zone. Fire extinguisher should be checked visually monthly by checking what? The extinguishers are located and stored correctly and installed according to the local law. Pressure gauge where fitted, needle is in the green zone. No damage, leaks, rust, or pin in the place. All of the above.
D.
Any other opinion, please?
Option D.
All of them. All of them.
All of the
All of the above. Okay, correct, Marshall. Now, $500 question. Look at the picture. Fire hose reel is there. Fire hoses should be. The question is, fire hoses should be checked for operation regularly, kept neatly rolled up ready for a fire, used for hosing down the factory floor or the site floor, Both A and B.
Both A and B.
Any other opinion, please?
It's okay. D.
You'll go with option D, right? A and B.
Yeah.
Correct, Marshall. $1,000 question of round number 1. Look at the picture. Fire alarms are checked for operation regularly, indicated by signage and color, installed in accordance with local regulations and must be in high risk areas, or all of the above.
All of the above.
Fire alarms are
B. All of them.
B.
all of the above. Okay,
Yes.
correct, mashallah. So that was all about round number 1. Excellent, mashallah. Now question round 2, question number 6. Now we are going to talk about emergency training, like emergency preparation and all that. The question is, basic emergency action planning should be in place. What should this not cover? Basic emergency action planning should be in place. What should this not cover? This not is important to consider. The options are, option A is emergency shutdown procedures, shift roster coverage for illness, primary, secondary exit routes, assembly areas.
B.
Yes,
Option B.
B, correct, Marshall. Correct, brilliant. Question number 7, $4,000 question. Round number 2 is going on. Look at the picture: fuel, heat, and oxygen, fire reaction. So fire will be there. So fire prevention processes, even though we have studied fire prevention, but still let's see what would be your answer. Fire prevention process do not include burning of rubbish, good housekeeping, storing and handling of combustible materials, hot work permits like welding, brazing, cutting, abrasive blasting, and any hot work which can create ignition. Yes, please.
Good.
Fire
B.
prevention
Option B.
processes do not include.
B. B. Good housekeeping.
Any other opinion, please?
Option A, burning of rubbish.
Any logical technical point for selecting A, please? Because I need confident answers, not doubtful answers. $4,000 question number 7.
Because prevention involves the steps, does not have a chance to eliminate. So
Absolutely right. If we want to prevent from fire, we need to ensure good housekeeping, storing and handling of combustible materials, hot work permit system must be there. And burning of rubbish is, of course, by choice. We know how to tackle it one, and it can be like, it shouldn't be included as a fire prevention process, because intentionally we know we are burning some rubbish. But good housekeeping have to be ensured. It must be part of fire prevention, because poor housekeeping is a source of more fire incidents. That is why we need to include good housekeeping, storing and handling of combustible materials, and hot work permits. So the right answer is A. Excellent, Marshall. Question number 8, $8,000 question is there. How often should fire evacuation practices be carried out for each shift to cover all employees? I repeat again, how often should fire evacuation practices be carried out for each shift to cover all employees? Every month? Once a year? Twice a year? Once a year, or as required by the local regulation?
D.
How often should fire evacuation practices be carried out for each shift to cover?
Option B,
Yeah,
once a year. Once a year.
option B for ball or D for death?
My answer is option B for ball.
B for ball, okay. Any other opinion, please?
D. D for dog.
Okay, so D is the right answer because once a year or as required by the local regulations. You know, Saudi Arabia, they will not compromise with their local regulations. Whoever is operating any business or anyone is working within Saudi Arabia, the first challenge is to follow Saudi Arabian local regulations. So that is why the law says once in a year, but by choice you can have weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannual. So the right answer is D. $16,000 question is there. On the job specific health and safety training is required for all workers. Within 3 months of starting a new job, prior to starting a new job, except temporary and migrant workers, or none of the above.
B.
B for ball.
Option B. Just B for ball.
Okay, so B is the right answer. Brilliant, Mashin. Last question of round number 2, $32,000 question is there. Look at the picture. If you see fire or smoke, what should you do? Option A is panic and run out of the building as fast as you can. Remain calm, alert wardens, personally call fire services, leave the building, wait at the front for the fire trucks. Remain calm, rescue anyone if it is safe to do so. Raise the alarm, close doors and windows, extinguish the fire with extinguishers or hoses. Or option D is remain calm and follow your business evacuation plan, assemble in the designated assembly area. So 4 options are there. What is the right option?
C.
C. Option C.
Sorry,
Option
what is
C.
your right answer?
C. C.
C for cat.
D.
C.
Okay, so D is the right answer, guys. $32,000 question was there. So last round. Until now it's great, mashallah. $64,000 question is there. Question number 11. The first step to preventing a fire is a fire risk assessment. Fire risk assessment should be carried out as part of your emergency planning. Step 1, identifying the fire hazard, which are sources of ignition. Read the options and let me know your answer.
Option D. All of the above.
Okay, all of them. Brilliant, Marshall. Right answer. $125,000 question number 12. The question is fire risk assessment. Step 1, identifying the fire hazard. Which are sources of fuel? Previous question was sources of ignition. Now sources of fuel. Anything that burns, liquid, solvent, petrol, solid, textile, wood, paper, card, etc. All of the above.
Option D.
Yes, please.
D.
Option D, all of the above.
So all of the above is the right answer, Marshall. $250,000 question number 30. Question is fire risk assessment. Step 2 is, this is a little bit tricky question. Please understand that question first. Identifying the people at risk, and step 3 is evaluate the risk which are correct. Option A is evaluating the risk by reduce the possibility of ignition, minimize the potential fuel load in the premises, assist people to escape. People at risk are based on spread of fire, number of people, how warnings are given, how escape can happen, both A and B. Identifying people is carried out by fire wardens, and they will evaluate if they can extinguish the fire or call the fire service.
Option A.
Yeah. Option A, evaluate the risk by reduce the possibility of ignition, minimize the potential fuel. Understand the question again, please.
Option C. Both A and B, because B is evaluate the risks.
Okay. But in option A is talking about evaluating the risk. But in option B is talking about people also
Yes.
at risk. So the right answer is C.
Sure. C.
Now, $5,000 question number 40, the second last question of the competition. Use of fire or flame is called hot work in a factory or the site. This would be from where? Any work carried out in the workplace when the room temperature is over 38 degrees. Welding, cutting or brazing, or using open flames or source of heat that could ignite material in an area. Both A and B, or any electrical power leads that are damaged and may cause electrocution.
Option number B.
Sorry?
B for ball.
B for ball. Welding, cutting or
Option
brazing,
C.
using open flames or source of heat that would ignite material in an area. Okay, any other opinion, please?
Option C.
Okay, so option B is the right answer. Excellent, Michelle. $1 million question number 15, third round, last question. Look at the picture first. The question is, what is required for hot work permit, like welding, brazing, grinding, etc. Anyone can issue a hot work permit, including the person who is carrying out the hot work. Hot work can proceed as long as the area is inspected 60 to 90 minutes after completion of the hot work. issued by an authorized person, assessment of the area, including removal of flammable material, available firefighting equipment, watches to monitor and inspections post work. All of the above.
C.
Option C.
What is the option?
Option C.
C for cat. Okay. Correct, guys, mashallah. Brilliant. Oh, thank you very much. Now, can you just turn on your video so I can take a screenshot for attendance purpose?